Okay. Salut tout le monde. Okay, I just want to explain to you guys language learning and language teaching in general, so that when we speak and when we talk, when we go to them, we're speaking from an educated point of view. We know what we're asking for, we know what we want to say, and we don't sound like we're just demanding, but we don't really know what we're asking for, so we just sound like a burden on them rather than someone who has a real solution for something. Okay, so a very quick review on language teaching and learning in general. Can't say it. So a very quick review on language learning. Still can't say it. Yeah. Okay, it was too high. Alright, so we have heard, of course, multiple times about les quatre compétences, writing, reading, listening, and speaking. So when you're learning any language, you should be able to do all of these things. These are the basic skills that you need to master or to be able to do from level 1. The difference between level 1 and a fluent speaker is that a fluent speaker has mastered all of these skills in that language, while the level 1 student is just beginning. Alright? So under each and every one of them, of course, a set of things that we need to do when you're talking about speaking. It's about pronunciation, it's about accent, and making sure that you speak like a native speaker. About listening, it's comprehending the text, so it's listening comprehension. And reading, it's also comprehension. You understand what the hell you're reading, and some vocabulary building. Writing is, of course, here production of the language, so you produce what you already know, so you could write a sentence and build structure. And also grammar falls under writing mainly here. Yeah, forgot how to spell it. Grammar is here as well. Alright, now when you look at these four competencies, writing, reading, and listening are more or less things that you can do on your own. You don't need to have someone with you. But speaking, you can't do this on your own. You need to have someone with you. So this has to happen in class. If you ever took a language course and you didn't do speaking in class, it wasn't a very good one. Listening, even though you can do it on your own, you need a native speaker supervision. So this also has to happen in class. Alright? Reading and writing. Writing can be given as homework, and it's just a matter of correction. And reading can be done in class depending on the teacher, but like generally speaking, these are the four competencies. Now, there's another thing that we need in order to be able to write, speak, read, understand what we're reading, and understand what we're listening in a language. We need vocabulary and grammar. Okay? Now vocabulary, because it's not a structured thing, you can't start from step 1 and then go on a certain very linear road, and that way you would know all of the vocabularies of the language. No, you can't. Otherwise we would have went alphabetically through vocabulary, but that's not helpful because not everyone knows every single word, and that's not the point. That is why vocabulary is introduced to us according to context. Every lesson we have a situation, and in that situation it has its own vocabulary, and that's what we learn. So when we're in a similar situation, we know what to say and how to ask questions and like generally have a conversation in that situation. Now, grammar however, is different. Grammar is a fixed ladder that you start with the basic and then you reach somewhere advanced after a while. Okay? So these are basic things that when you're learning any language, and so vocabulary is important, grammar is important, but these are things that you can't take them separate from a context. You can't say, okay, let's have a grammar lesson, okay, let's have a vocabulary lesson. No, you need to integrate that into reading, writing, listening, and speaking. All right? Okay. Now, TAXI is considered a very modern way of teaching. Even though we're against it, we don't think it's very helpful, but the traditional method of teaching used to be grammar-based only. All right? My homemade classroom. Yeah, okay? So it was all grammar. People in the past did not believe that you need anything than grammar to be able to learn the language. And we used to have and they used to be based on something called grammar drills. If I can draw this. It's a drill. Grammar drills. And grammar drills are exercises like we did today. With the exercise that we had. They're just a lot of exercises on the same grammatical rule. And what this helps us with is that we remember the grammatical rule because we've done it so many times. It starts to come out unconsciously, and it's no longer in a short-term memory, it's in a long-term memory as well. Now, there's the new method that people have proposed, or language educators have proposed, of course, is that they realize that by teaching people grammar, people can write very well, they can understand most of what they're reading, but they can't speak, and they can't interact on a social level. So that is why people realize that, hey, communication is very important. Now, the communication method does not believe in grammar at all. It says, who cares about grammar if two people can have a conversation and understand each other? Isn't that the purpose of language? Isn't language something to communicate, a tool to communicate with other people? So if you teach me grammar and I can't talk to the speakers, then what's the point? The important thing is for me to talk to people, right? Of course, this made people very fluent in the language, but when you ask them to write a written document, well, they did not do so well. Alright, so this is between traditional and communicative. Now, here's the thing about TAXI. TAXI is very communicative, and it's considered a very modern textbook because it achieved that. It managed to become a textbook that encourages students to have a communication more than anything else. My battery is dying. Okay, so TAXI, we get, just a minute. So in TAXI, we get a lot of exercises on listening and speaking. And TAXI does that very well. The level of listening comprehension that we're required to have in TAXI is very high in comparison to the level of listening comprehension we have in other textbooks. So it sort of mastered listening and speaking. What's missing from TAXI is the grammar drills, as we've discussed today, and some strong reading materials, and not just like a website or an affiche or things like that. No, we need grammar drills and real reading materials. Why? Because when we go to the exam of DELF, they will introduce to us an article from the news that we're going to have to read and then answer questions on. So reading is very important. Those are the two things that are missing. Okay, so basically, this is my proposal, and what I'm proposing for, can you see that? Yeah. What I'm proposing for our class, not this one, or for this one, we could just ask Madame Wissam to give us more grammar exercises if that's what we want to revise some of what we already did. But for next time, we have 122 minutes of class time. It doesn't matter how it's spent, but this is like a rough division of time. 30 minutes listening. Listening has to happen in the class, like we do already. 30 minutes here for something else, and 30 minutes for reading. She would give us, or even more than 30 minutes, she would give us a material, reading material, an extract from somewhere else. Okay? And we would have to read it and then discuss it and then answer the question on it. And finally, 30 minutes of speaking, which is like how you close a class and more relaxed and less stressful. After listening here, she introduces the grammatical rule, and we also revise the solutions for the homework of the previous class. So it's a rough way to put it. She can manipulate 40 minutes here, 25 minutes here, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like we should cover all of these, the 4 of these things in one lesson. And that's how you know. You go home and you know what you took today. You took listening about such, you took this grammatical rule, you read this extract and discussion, and here you will gain the vocab, and you will be able to use it here. And you might hear it here as well. So this is a more comprehensive way of learning. What we're missing is, as I said, the grammar and the strong reading. That's where we're weak at. Why? Because the teacher only opens Taxi as the book. She's using the book as her guidelines, but we need more than that. We can't use Taxi as the guideline. So I propose, the thing is, there isn't such a thing as a perfect book. Okay? One book focuses on one competence and neglects the other. The other focuses on one competence and neglects the other. The person who balances that out is the teacher. And when teachers follow the book to the point and use Taxi as their guidelines, we miss things such as grammar and reading. When teachers follow another book, we might miss things such as speaking and so forth. Very quickly, because my battery's dying, I'm going to show